Hi, welcome to Untamed Ink, episode 7 today. Untamed Ink features just two pals, two mics, and an endless quirky banter and mysteries of the world. I think we've already done this one. Anyways, I'm Alex, a copywriter who specializes in tech, logistics, and healthcare, a freelancer, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host Jasmine.
Jasmine, me. I'm a B2B marketer working in the SaaS space, and it's so obvious that we haven't done this in a while.
We fell out of sync today.
I mean, we should just start off by saying so sorry for the radio silence over the last month. It's been a crazy August, to say the least. I had some wisdom teeth taken out, and I looked like a man for about a week or two, as my jaw was like swollen. Or what did I call myself? I said Chadmin.
Every day I was messaging you like, "How are you, Chad? How's your face?" Chaddy.
Yeah. And it's just absolute chaos. I was back seeing my family in Malaysia, and absolutely no idea what was going on. And then suddenly we're in September.
I know. And then the damn Mercury calendar, it's finally over. I'm so happy because I was MIA, non-existent, because all the dramas of the Mercury calendar unfolding.
God dang Mercury, ruining everyone's life.
I know.
Can't trust it.
Yeah. So now we're back. Let's just get right into it. What was your untamed moment this week or for the past month, if we've not talked about it?
Oh God, there's so many, but they're like, I don't want to say that they're semi illegal. But
Oh.
Oh. Right. So so I was, as I just said like 2 seconds ago, I was back in my visiting my family back in Malaysia, and what me and my family like to do when I come back is that we go for short trip to Penang. So for the unfamiliar, Penang is a little island state in the north of Malaysia, the peninsula of Malaysia. And from Kuala Lumpur, where I was born and raised, that's about a 5-hour drive. And so we went on this trip, and that was me gone for a week. Going there, I don't look like a local Malaysian, but I can speak like a Malaysian because I'm born and raised there. I speak the language. I can speak with the slang. And every time I had an interaction with a person, I know that they don't understand my British accent. So I switch. And every single time I do, they're like, I blow their minds. So there was next to maybe like a 5-minute walk next to the hotel that we were staying in, there's a hawker center. So like just a place with people, like stalls of food. People make different things. It's honestly the best way to try out Malaysian food is to go to one of these places. But in Kuala Lumpur, fun fact, they are few and far between, so just keep that in mind. But in Penang, so we went to this place, and what I always love to get is like grilled fish. So I've been to this hawker center before, and I just like went straight down and like immediately code switch. And the thing is like that for different types of Malaysian, there are different types of accent. So with the Malaysian Malays, there's one type, and then the Malaysian Chinese, there's one type. and the Malaysian Indians there's one type as well. So the lady at the store was Malaysian Chinese. So she sees this like foreigner coming to her store and she starts speaking in English. And then I say in my Malaysian Chinese, like she's like trying to sell me. She's like, what do you want? Like, do you want like tilapia? Do you want oh, I can't remember, like catfish? Like what? Like all of these were cooked today. And then like I have a specific. This is gonna make me sound so bad, but I love grilled stingray. It's so good. It's like melt in your mouth. And stingray, you can eat the bones as well because the bones are really soft. And with the Malaysian sambal sauce, it's like oh god. So yeah. Anyway, Untamed. I take like directly to this store with this Malaysian Chinese lady, and I break out in my Malaysian Chinese like accent, like I want the grilled stingray. And she just like, her mind just absolutely explodes, but as she like goes with it. So she's like, oh yeah, so you want like how many people? Do you want like a big one, a small one? Is it just you? Do you want rice? And I'm like, just show me pieces and like I'll pick from there. It's a kind of like, it started becoming overwhelming for me. So it's like backfired. So normally I'm like going in like confident and stuff, but this is the first time that like I code switched and they like went with it, and then like I just completely broke down and I was like, I just like, I don't know, four people enough.
So she really wanted to give you the royal treatment after speaking, and then you
Yeah,
a bit too much.
it's just like, she's like, you want spicy? You want spicy? And I'm like, I love spicy. And she's like, oh, get nasty. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you can. It's more like Jasmine like trying to be Malaysian and then like backfiring and getting too much stimulation in return, and I just like no idea how to react to that. And then I made my order, and then I went back to the table. I was kind of like, I didn't know what was happening. But then the food arrived, so that was nice.
It's a hard one though, that, because if you speak in English, you'll get ripped off. But then when you go in and they welcome you, they're over welcoming you, and really want to invest in your business, like not like space and no more, and you just want the damn food to go to the table.
Yeah,
but you cannot, because the Malaysian side, like you need to really bond and have a bit of chit chat to,
Yeah, and it's like the good thing about Malaysia, especially the hawker centers, is that the prices are clearly written. So like if you wanted a small stingray, medium stingray, large stingray, there are like different prices for it there. So like there's really low chance for them to rip you off. So you can always like argue with them that's like too much money or whatever. But because the great thing about the hawker centers is that the locals and the tourists come, so they just make everything quite clear cut, just simple, make your order, pay your thing, enjoy your food. But yeah, my brain couldn't like handle it. I don't know why.
So did you manage to desensitize and like actually enjoy your food between that and that, or not?
It took, because it's freshly made, so it did take a little bit to get to me. So like I managed to have a bit of sugar in my system with like the sugar. Like I don't know if you noticed, but I've got a bit more like roundness in my cheeks, and that's just because the amount of sugar in all the food in Malaysia. Oh my god!
I know what you mean. I've been eating a lot of sugary foods and processed lately, and I've got like very puffy face because of the same reason. But Malaysia, like But I love your sweets. Like I love your sugary food, so I'm not gonna go there.
I need to learn how to make it, and I can make it for you. So that was my little boring untamed moment. The legal one, not
You
so
know what?
legal one later.
I think this would have been so fitting for the accent, mismatched accent episode.
Oh God, yeah.
Because it actually is so relevant, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I could have like pulled it off though, because so it would need to be kind of like live. I wouldn't be able to do unless I'm talking to a Malaysian. I wouldn't be able to code switch.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But hey, at least you had a bit of bonding with the lady in Penang. I mean, now she'll definitely remember you for the third year running.
I'm just gonna go there, like do a little camera, and be like, no, oh God, that would be embarrassing. Anyway, that's enough of my boring untamed moment. Alex, what were the what kind of untamed moments did we miss over the month of August?
Well, I have a lot of untamed moments, but there's a lot I can't really mention on this podcast because whoever listens or if it gets viral, there's things about people are going, that's definitely about such and such, or that's definitely
Oh
about
yeah,
me. So I cannot, I have to be very careful. And I was thinking that today, like, what can I say? And I'll say something, but I'm going to put it into a different context so it cannot be
traced back.
traced back. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So recently I was involved in someone messaged me. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna just spell it because it's gonna like get out if people know. So someone messaged me to do with something I'm associated with, like a fraternity, and I think I get really annoyed because when people have a scope of work to do, and it's their scope of work, and they have they have to do it themselves. But people have the habit of wanting to delegate, and I see it as like as an authority asserting way. And recently, I got a message on WhatsApp asking for me to get a piece of information and like buy a bio, an info, an image from another person I know. And I straight away was like, no, here's that person's number. Like, there's the number, you do it because that's your role. And they're like, can you do it? And I'm like, why should I do it? Basically, because I was basically going on with someone entertaining a stupid conversation that I should have just ignored in the first place.
Yeah.
But like entertaining it, going like, why should I do it? It's not my work. I have my own work to do. This is your responsibility. This is your role. Like, you know, and I nearly went into a full blown like mini fight. Not a fight, but like I was really pissed off because I was at the gym and like, you know, when you're like not testosterone, but you have your hormones flying and you're on a different energy.
Yeah.
And I nearly engaged in a stupid petty like fight on WhatsApp. I didn't. Instead of just ignoring the message completely in the thread, but I nearly engaged in something so stupid. And I thought, thank God I actually pulled yourself away from that because you could have made something and offended someone. And they may not have even intended to come across like that, but I'm so like, I'm not having anything delegated to me. I was sitting in my position straight away. This is not my job. This is your job. And then I went and I was like, thank God I didn't do anything like this childish and this like this instead of like learning to ignore.
Oh God.
So that was
Alex asserting dominance.
Well, not asserting dominance. Let's not put it that way because I'm saying this person is. I'm sorry, it's not like I'm asserting dominance. I just have so many other things going on in my day, and I don't want to add unnecessary work that's not mine to do when it's
That's fair enough, though. Yeah, you go, girl.
I think because in the past I used to be such a pushover and people pleaser. I'd happily do things without thinking twice just to keep the peace. But now I'm like, no, I'm not giving myself any unnecessary work if needed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important though. Yeah.
But this convo though went on. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it went back and forth, back and forth. That's the funniest thing. Like, if I'm getting the messages up now, I'm like, this is the number. please can you ask them why? Just reach out. I have to do this by today. And I'm like, yeah, drop them a message. And they go, thanks. And I'm like, thanks? What do you mean thanks? I'm not doing the work. And I said, you'll be quicker at getting in touch. And then they went, point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did you even message me in the first place? Like, why did you even do it? You know, you're just testing the water. I generally feel you're just testing the waters to make me do your work.
Yeah.
It's so childish.
Oh my God.
So my untamed moment is nearly going into a childish chat like that.
Fair enough, though.
I think
like,
the hormones are flying, though, to be fair. Also, sorry, this is TMI, everyone, but I just came off my period yesterday. So maybe it's my hormones also making me a bit more defensive than normal.
Yeah, I mean, could be. Who knows? But at the same time, like, if it's not your job, it's not your job, though.
Yeah, I know, and especially when it's not to do with work. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you being a freelancer, like your time is limited.
Exactly.
And it in the amount of time that they're like, oh, why can't you do it for me? They could have just done it.
Yeah.
Sent a message, be like, hey, I need your photo and bio for this thing. Yeah. Hey, I'm on your team.
In the back of my head, I'm like, you don't know who the fuck I am. I'm Alex Wrigley. This is what it is. And I'm like, oh sugar. Sorry.
1-1.
I was literally like thinking in my head, like, you don't know who I am. Like, wait till he like find out about me or no. Like, you'll regret doing this. And I was like, Alex, who do you think you are?
Oh God, 2 episodes in a row, Untamed Moments live.
Inflated self-esteem. Anyways, that was my untamed moment. The nice one.
And a bit of untamed on there. I love it. Right, lovely.
So that ego of mine actually derives, it's quite relevant to our topic today. Because I've developed this ego through the power of self-belief.
Dun, dun, dun. That's our topic for today. All right, Miss Egotistical, what is self-belief?
Okay, self-belief or self-efficacy is a person's belief in their ability to complete tasks and to achieve their goals. And this was discovered by Bandura in 1995. And I only remember Bandura from the Bobo doll study. Was that Bandura?
Yeah, that was Bandura. Yeah, the kids punching the poor Bobo doll. Oh, that was so good. Oh, I love that. Over the last little bit, I've been thinking a lot about my degree again. Anyway.
So,
yeah,
in short, it's the confidence in your own abilities, judgment, and worth. It's the internal assurance that you are capable of achieving your goals, handling challenges, just like that dispute I just had, and making decisions that align with your values and aspirations. Unlike arrogance, which involves an inflated sense of self, self-belief is grounded in a realistic understanding of your strengths and weaknesses.
So, Alex, was that arrogance or was that...
Well, it started off realistic, but it turned into arrogance, so yeah.
Okay.
And how would you explain self-belief, Jazz?
Self-belief, I would say, like it's such a fine line. Basically, self-belief is a type of confidence where, like, it's not really about thinking that you can do anything without any effort. Like, oh, I don't know, I'm such an amazing baker. I make perfect cakes every time, or whatever. There's still a bit of effort in baking the cake. Like you got to do churning and all that stuff. Don't know why I'm thinking about cakes, but there we go. It's basically self-belief is trusting your dedication and learning and perseverance that enough that you can overcome obstacles and hopefully grow from your experiences. So this kind of ties back a little bit to one of, what was it, my episode? I don't remember. I was talking about, oh no, maybe it might have been one of our previous episodes. We were talking about like just the importance of like learning, you know, for knowledge. So like just the confidence in your own knowledge and in your own experiences to be able to like overcome tasks and obstacles and all that fun stuff. We are so out of practice.
So, in short, that's the definition of self-belief. Why do you think self-belief is important, Jazz? I feel like it's so funny. It's so like
I'm kind of thinking about that conversation we had off air about the specific person and how they're like full of poop. But that's like, I don't know. There's like the internet face thing, right? Where you can be all like confident about yourself all you want on the internet, like us. Oh well, sometimes. But at the root of it, why it's so important is it's basically a bunch of stuff. So I'm sure anyone listening, like you can think about an instance in your life, whether it's now in your adulthood or when you were younger, but like it's such an important key for success. You can think about maybe like doing a sports day. I don't know if that's like a universal thing where like everyone, like all the kids are like split into maybe like sports houses or different houses, and then you like compete against each other. But you're doing like a, I don't know, 400-meter or whatever race, and if you don't have that confidence in your abilities, you're not going to go and get gold. No, absolutely. Like if you think, oh, I'm like a crap runner, I can't run for the life of me, it's like you're not going to get anywhere with that sort of attitude. So it's so important for success to just be like, I don't know, I'm going to do the best that I can. I know that I can at least finish the race, but like I'm going to push myself a bit more. This acts like a buffer against self-doubt and the fear of failure, which is normally the thing that like pulls us back, and it helps us bounce back from setbacks and learn from mistakes. And you know, that's so important for like self-belief, to have self-belief in order to succeed in anything. It's also like a driving force. So it's not like a little poster like you put on the wall and just like, you know, hang in there, or like you can do this, or what's that, like the classic American woman poster that's like this.
oh yeah,
the working woman, just like you can do this or whatever. Yeah, with the bandana. So it's like it's just more than just slogans. It's like it's helpful to remind yourself with all these posters around, but you just need to remember that like your experiences, your learning, your knowledge is so important to be able to tackle anything in your path. It's key for taking risks or turning dreams into reality. Like, you know, Alex was like, I'm getting out of Dodge, I'm getting out of Newcastle, and I'm going to explore the world. Like, she needed that self-belief, you know, that doesn't come out of nowhere. And it's like, yeah. And another thing it's so important for, or at least like it kind this one is a bit of like a it needs each other. So self-belief needs a growth mindset, and a growth mindset needs a self-belief. So that's the like learning aspect. Learning from your mistakes, learning from the mistakes of others, learning from failures, learning from like whatever experiences that you have. Don't take it at face value. Everything that you come across in life has something for you to learn, but you need that self-belief, that, or self-efficacy, as Bandura says, to be able to even like accept that as a fact. Yeah, so like that's what I have to say about it. What do you think that there are any other key bits of self-belief that's so important for us?
I think self-belief is very subjective. It's something that needs to drive you forward in life, but how someone believes in themselves could be different from the next person. And I think the most important thing about self-belief and even like a growth mindset is developing your own internal awareness of what works for you to believe in yourself. Because it's a phrase that gets thrown around, but it requires a lot of knowledge of your own self to make you like get up and like, and a lot of it, let's say holistic awareness of your thoughts and emotions and your own qualities, like a very strong internal awareness in that sense to drive you forward, to like excel or grow. So it's a lot of inner work and inner wisdom needed. And I personally think that is generated from a lot of exposure and a lot of mistakes to generate that internal knowledge, awareness.
Do you have any personal stories of like where you should have had like more self efficacy or self-belief in yourself?
Oh, I've struggled with self-belief all my life, I think, till my late teenage years, early 20s. I struggled with self-belief a lot. And I think now I've got a strong self-belief. And I think for me, I struggled with my self-belief because of my school. I hated school. Some people thought it was the best time of their life. Feel like it's the best time of their life. For me, it was my worst.
Yeah.
I think so. I'll remember. I think I'm quite an intelligent person in like terms of growth. Like I like to find my own wisdom, knowledge, and like excel. But I think I could have been way better at school and way more. I could have utilized the system better and like maybe got better grades or opportunities. However, I remember like when I was in year 5, I was 10 years old, 11 years old. We had a teacher, and this is what changed my whole confidence from it. I remember we had a geography lesson, and she put her hand like the class that had asked the class. She's called Mrs. Jameson, and she asked the class. We were studying the Caribbean, and she was like, "Can you name something in the place in the Caribbean?" And I said, like, I put my hand up, and the first thing that came in my mind was Tenerife, because like I was like, I went on holiday at the time to Canary Islands.
Yeah.
I just thought it, but because I was just trying, and straight up she laughed. And she was like, "That's not the Caribbean, that's Canary Islands." And she straight up slated me in front of the whole class, and the whole class laughed. And that, like, from that moment, and like from there, like, I'll never forget when I was that young, like when a teacher like frames it on a student and makes you look so stupid.
Yeah.
It really discouraged me to like raise my hand again in class, in like classroom discussions. So from that young age, I developed a really low self-esteem from participating in class discussions. And like that's like the key, like apart from like self-directed learning, like that's a big contributor to like participating in learning and exploring and like wanting to know more. So throughout my high school, like I kept quiet, like I was a bit of a mute, in terms of like participating or interacting. And I started to develop this low self-esteem, like basically being scared of making mistakes
Yeah.
per se. So that started like this big trend, and I think it had a big impact on my personality as well in different ways, because I wouldn't present myself in like a major group of people. I would sit and hide behind. I'd sit with like a few people. I'd not like actively come out. And like I think that was like what impacted my own self-belief and confidence, because I thought like I was scared to make mistakes. And I think like that in essence, yeah, it was a major low point for me. It sounds stupid, but it had a domino effect later on in my
No, yeah, absolutely not stupid. No way. It's. I mean, they say, early childhood is crucial for human psychological development for a reason. Uh, it affects us too till today, and cool. I can bring up loads of those experiences. I didn't have the best of schooling days either, so like I absolutely sympathize with you on that.
So what if you had to think about your low experience? I mean, we'll move on to the positive side as well, but like what would yours be?
Um, cool. Yeah, I mean, like you say year five. I can actually go back and think about just the going back to the whole identity thing that we talked about in the accents episode. Um, I can think about year one, the very first day of primary school, um, because obviously I don't look Malaysian. I went to well, some people say public school, but I think in the British language, it's state school. So I didn't go to an international school or private school or anything like that. I went to state school, which was even worse. So all of these teachers have never seen like a mixed child before, and but I'll send you a photo of this. But when I was really young, I looked really Chinese. So there's a point in the Malaysian schooling system, because I grew up in Malaysia, where the class gets split, and it's kind of I don't want to bring it up, but it's sort of like a racial segregation kind of thing. So there are two different classes that people get split into during the school day. So you're like all together for majority of the day, and then this one specific class you get split depending on your ethnicity, basically. And I knew who I was. I know who I am. So I went to the correct class, basically the ones where all the Malaysian Malays were. And I walked into class, went to the back because I was the tallest child. So I always get kicked to the back. But the teacher immediately noticed and was like, are you sure you're in the right class? Like the non-Malays like are supposed to go to the other class, and I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be here. And then she was like, tell me your name, and I told her my name, and she's like, oh, okay. And since then it's just like it's always been like eating at me, that whole like identity thing. And that's the main reason why I don't really identify as a Malaysian, because even since the first day of primary school, it's been made apparent to me that I'll never be accepted. So yeah, there's that. But like before we get to the positives of stuff, it's so important for us to talk about just you can see how the both like from both of our stories how that affected us, but just in general having low self-belief, low self-esteem, low self-efficacy, it it affects us so much. Like the increased, well, in your case and in my case as well, there was an increased stress, and it caused mental health issues. Like, there's those with low self-efficacy are more likely to experience high levels of stress, anxiety, and depression, because they doubt their abilities to cope with challenges, leading to feelings of helplessness and inadequacy. It's like they can't influence the outcomes in their lives, or they're too scared to do anything about it. And then, like, another thing, I think, Alex, you might want to talk about that, because that relates to your
I know.
story like
So
so much.
there's research that indicates that low self-belief or efficacy can really hinder learning processes, especially regarding fear and anxiety. People might struggle to discriminate between safe and threatening stimuli, impacting their ability to learn from experiences and adapt behaviors. And it can affect academic performance and social interactions. And it's so scary because that's happened to me, and I didn't even think about the. Yeah, it's happened to me all my life. That's actually very sad. Yeah, and like that's the it makes me mad. It really
Any
makes me
parents
mad.
that happen to be listening to this podcast, like, this is so important to make sure that this doesn't happen to your children, because it really can mess them up for the rest of their lives if they're not too careful. You can obviously get over it healthy ways, but it's so important to.
That makes me so mad because now I think we're in an era. Yes, you've got still some educators which are like old school, but I had some old school mentality like educators, and now more are like they encourage mistakes, they encourage participation. But back then, I think some teachers had such a ego, and they have their favorites, and then they know how to humiliate certain students or pupils.
Oh yeah.
And that definitely was done for me to me. And to add that on, that sounds it's like really nothing if you think about it, but to a child it's everything. I remember I actually remember that teacher saying on the parents' evening to my dad about this and making like fun to my parents. And like even my dad was like, "Well, why did you say that?" Like, and then it extends on to the home situation, and you feel like such a idiot. And like for a kid, that's like everything. Their self belief. It's the only thing that they have with them. Like kids are born being positive beings, to enjoy life. Like that's the one lesson, like one thing kids have to keep intact before developing any other forms of life skills. And when that's smashed by a parent or teacher, it knocks them off their track. I mean, thank God I'm okay now, but I think my life definitely could have been more smoother, and there could have been a lot more benefits in my life if it wasn't for this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think it's worthwhile noting that there have been found to be like cultural differences in terms of like, and I can see that going back to tall poppy syndrome, like it's so prevalent in British culture, but it's not in American. And it, like, here's a little factoid for like want people to think about, but like Oxford University in England is the top university for education. Go to England, ask anyone about Oxford, everyone knows Oxford. Go to Europe, everyone knows it. Go to Asia, everyone knows it. But it's 50th for entrepreneurship. And you like kind of converse that back to the fact that like Americans have like this, like, like go-getter hustle, like self-belief, I can do this attitude. The top 3 universities in the US output more entrepreneurs compared to the top 3 in the UK. Whew.
I can relate to this so much. Like it's not even about like university level. Like right now I'm in Kathmandu. Most people don't want to work a 9 to 5. They have a big entrepreneurship culture, and not even in just in the States, because in England, the way we're conditioned, partly to do with whole poppy syndrome, is because there's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of doubting others. And the tall poppy syndrome also comes into play because it's like this, everyone has this skepticism and wants to snip people down from like doing something so different and out of the box on their own 2 feet. And I can really relate to this statistic. I can really relate to it because now I'm in Kathmandu. I have achieved so much more that I wouldn't have been able to do as a freelancer and maybe one day entrepreneur here than I could in the UK. And that's partly to do with the mentality, which a lot parallels with the tall poppy syndrome that we talked about.
And it's so embedded in the culture as well. Just like you saying that the teacher, and then
Now you know
like your
why I don't
dad.
want to live.
Like, oh
Now you
my
know why I
God.
don't want to live in the UK. Now you can see, like, so it's so hard to explain to people, like, especially in Kathmandu. They're like, why do you want to live in this country? Because we're trying to escape it. And now, like, this is defined so much for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can live anywhere in the world, like if I wanted to. It's a mindset thing, but developing this core self-belief definitely has something to do with being away from England.
Yeah, of course, for sure. And like, I mean, I've got a British partner who's, escaped the UK as well, and so like I know all about that. It's the whole grass is greener thing as well, and just
But
anyway.
yes, so it can affect learning. It can also make you withdraw socially. I feel like this is a therapy session. So it can make you avoid social situation difficulties. You can isolate yourself, can diminish self-esteem and mental health, which is a oh my God, this is so eye-opening for me. This is too much. So I have this habit because of previous lack of self-belief. Sometimes I'll dive right into social settings, but then sometimes now and again I'll like just completely cut myself off.
Yeah.
And like I overthink a social situation, and instead of just throwing myself in, and I go in between, So like I know the benefits and the power of community, and I enjoy it and I love it when I'm there. But sometimes I can be my own worst enemy and cut myself off from being around people. And it's not that I don't want to, but I think I doubt myself and I overthink so much that it stops me from reaping the benefits of being around groups or individuals. And we're like constantly on and off, and it's a constant fight.
Yeah. It's so I was having a conversation with a psychiatrist, and I'm like, people don't believe that I'm introverted. I've taken 5 different personality tests, and all of them say that I'm introverted. And the psychiatrist didn't believe me either. And I'm like, I don't know, I can show you. Here's my Myers-Briggs. Like, I've got a screenshot of my Myers-Briggs. and like I'm introverted. I don't get energy from social situations, but I know how to be social, and I know the importance of being social. And it's exactly that. I'm back in Dubai after my Malaysia trip, and I'm like, do I want to see people? Do I really do I just want to like chill at home? Like, I haven't even gone out to the local cafe to say hello to my favorite barista. Like, it's so it's so weird, that whole thing. But enough of the negative, Alex. So how do we develop positive self-belief?
Okay, I would say, there's so many ways, but change your perspective on failure. Embrace failures and mistakes as opportunities for learning instead of setbacks. So failures directly contribute to growth. But what I love to think about now is when you're experiencing a mistake or a failure or something like that. Is like, what is this teaching? I always think like, what is this teaching me? Like, what can I turn this into, like a growth, or like, what can I learn from this? If you approach it like that, with that kind of positive mentality, that it's there to teach you something and you level up from, it can help you believe in yourself more, because you can use that lesson. Another way is to practice gratitude, give affirmations, write down what you're grateful for, 5 things, simple every day, and it can shift your concentration from negative thoughts to positive ones. Or even look in the mirror, like just telling yourself like how grateful you are, like what you're good at, what you like, just reinforcing that belief. It's kind of like, the more you say it, the more you believe those positive things, and it can help you like go about your day. And I would say, like, well, that aligns with self-talk as well, and setting achievable goals, breaking down like big things that you've got in your working day, in your life, personal goals, into digestible chunks. So doing those small things to start the day, and then like getting on and going to the bigger ones. But like those small things that you tick off, I have so many things to say with this. Small things that you tick off can help you feel confident to achieve more and believe more in yourself, developing this strong internal sense of self. And there's a great TED talk about this. I don't remember the guy. It's like how to make your bed at the first start of the day.
Oh yeah.
Start with the smallest. Start with the smallest thing. Make your bed before going on to these other things. And I always
I think I know exactly the TED talk that you're talking about.
So yeah, start with making.
Link that in the description box if anyone wants to watch it.
Start with making your bed, and then go on to like achieving the little things. So for me, that achievable goals that helps with my self-belief is I built bullet journal, which I'll add another link to bullet journaling, but it can just be journaling, writing out your to-dos for the day. And it can be very simple. So I'll like start my day and I read. So I'll be like, okay, read 30 minutes, then this. And it helps me, because once I tick it off, or like I put the line through, knowing that task is done, I get a like physical sense of accomplishment, like just doing it. That spurs me on to like try and throw myself into doing other things.
That's so helpful for my ADHD as well. Checklists are so good.
So apart from that, Jazz, I think you also must have some insights in how you develop, or how others might develop positive self-belief.
I think this is also one of the most important bits, because once you have a low sense of self, low self-efficacy, you tend to, as myself and Alex have said with our stories, like you tend to retreat and like not seek assistance from anyone. And I think that's the total opposite of what you need to do. You need to go out and find support and positive feedback from, and surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, who see the good in you and all the positive aspects of you. I mean, they'll see some of the negative stuff as well, but we're all human beings. But like, it's so important to get constructive feedback that can help you. Also, you need to be open to this constructive feedback, and it can help you recognize your strengths and where you need to improve. It's the whole like find your tribe sort of thing, and that's so important, because we're human beings, we're social creatures. Regardless of whether we're extroverted or introverted, we need our tribe. We need a good set of people around us to I mean, don't find yourself a bunch of yes men and women, but like find real people who can see the good in you and who can basically build you up when you feel like tearing yourself down. So important, especially if you're in both in my and Alex's situations, we're away from family, we're away from our like core friends. Thankfully we have each other. Another thing that you definitely need to do is not underplay your achievements. You need to celebrate the heck out of your achievements, because like just brushing them off or being like, I don't know, I've got a 2-1 in my degree, like that's hard work. Not everyone gets such a good grade on their university degrees, or even if you've got a first, like be proud of yourself. Like you've done a lot of work to get that result. Or even like he'll know who I'm talking about him. Like if you've got a really hard like case with a customer, for example, and it takes you, I don't know, hours and hours and hours on end to figure out what the problem is, and then but like at the end you manage to solve the problem for your customer, and your customer says like, thank you for your help, thank you for your support. That's an achievement as well. Like you managed to like help someone solve their issue. And it's so, whether it's like little tiny things that happen on a day-to-day basis, like me passing my driver's exam, like really, or like day-to-day things, like at work, whether you've done, I don't know, 10,000 words in a day, or helped someone on a support case, like you need to celebrate these things. And it's so good for your self-esteem as well, because it's one thing to rely on other people, but the it's in the name, like self-belief. Like you need to believe in yourself, in your abilities, and that, that is like, it's easier said than done, but it can be done. I mean, just look at the both of us. We got on this recording device, and we're making this episode. So like, yay us.
It's the small wins that you have to celebrate them. Really, you really do. And I don't know, like you have to, I think celebrating the small wins celebrating the small wins only becomes possible from being comfortable with making mistakes and failures. Because what I've realized is that like you really have to be okay with getting out and like failing, and to celebrate the small wins or acknowledging. So when you develop a sense of failure, like when you fail, you develop a sense of like you grit in a way to get on and achieve more things, or like go on to do more things.
Yeah.
And that grit, once you start achieving or doing things, not only do you develop a sense of self-belief, but you develop a sense of like what's the word? You don't ignore, but you like you have such a can-do attitude that you don't want to subject yourself to other people's opinions or beliefs, like in a different way, which helps you go on to acknowledge your achievements. Because when in England, I don't know about your experience, but there's an unspoken rule of like not I know it's the same in Scandinavian countries, of not like shouting about your praises and your achievements, because you come across as a know-it-all, or like you like asserting your superiority. But really, like, what the hell, it shouldn't really matter, because you deserve to celebrate, you deserve to showcase yourself, because it's how you put yourself out there to get those opportunities. And that only comes from like being able to develop this self-awareness of like, it's okay to fail, forget what other people think of my failures or mistakes, like what can I learn from this? Because that if you have that strong self-awareness and like mindset, you can go on to celebrate small wins more, even whether it's privately or publicly. But more privately leads to more public like celebrations, and I think that's the track to getting on with your life and achieving more.
Yeah, so it is possible.
Sorry. I went on the
That was a good waffle,
full feature mode, No, it's true though. I think genuinely because I failed a lot in my life, and especially like with my weight battles and issues, and I think running taught me a lot to get out as a complete like non-runner and get out and start running a few couple of miles and like start building and seeing the opportunities of like accomplishment through running and like getting through failures, and that developed such an internal self-belief that like it pushed me to go on to like develop that strong mindset of self-belief and apply it to other areas of my life. So I do know it's possible, and my experience is just with running.
Yeah. I I just thought of a really not like an example of me, but I don't know if you watched the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Oh, the animated, wait, the
The animated
series?
one.
No,
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen an animated Avatar. Okay, nice.
That was the original one. Yeah. So like the Avatar: The Last Airbender was like a Nickelodeon cartoon series. Um and I'm not going to acknowledge the live action ones. But basically there's a character named Sokka, and he starts off the series like really arrogant, but as uh as he progresses and like learns the harsh realities of life, he is open to his lessons, but that every so often he makes a mistake. And the interesting thing is, like, if you watch the entire series, there are loads of episodes, he never makes the same mistake twice, but as he learns from his mistakes and makes new ones, learns from it, makes new mistakes, learns from it, he gains self-confidence in himself and his abilities. So he's like, so basically the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender is that there are people who can control the elements, and Sokka is the only one on his team who can't do that. His sister can, control water, and like all he can do is like hit people with a sword, and he's got his like boomerang. And like that, he starts being like, I'm the best swords person in my tribe, and then like gets really like hit in his self-belief by all these like people with magical abilities, and he's like, I can't, I'm not that amazing. I can't do anything. Like, you can put out a forest fire with your like ability to control air, water, and earth, and I'm here with my boomerang. Like, I can't do anything. But then, like, as the series progresses, he comes to his own, and he recognizes his unique abilities that no one else has, and his like ability to like figure out creative solutions using the tools that he has. It's such like this is a kids show, by the way, but I highly recommend like adults like watch it. If you have, whether you have children or not, definitely watch it. So good. So many wholesome life lessons that you can learn from it, and pay particular attention if you yourself watching this, listening to this, and struggle a little bit with self-belief. Pay attention to the character of Sokka and his growth throughout the series. It's like, honestly, it's so good.
Wow, I never knew. Okay. I'm starting to, oh, okay, this is really interesting. So I'm starting to, it's not the first time I've just discovered this, because with cartoons, like there's a lot of kids cartoons that's got a lot of stronger meanings in them nowadays that is more relevant to us. I can really relate to this. I'm not going to go into it, but I've recently just finished The Boy and the Heron. And
Yes,
I'm starting to think the same, you know?
so good.
A lot of anime and a lot of cartoons has such a underlying message of self-belief in a lot of characters that could teach you this. And yeah, I'm thinking about The Boy and the Heron as you were explaining Avatar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, all the media is so much have so much to do with like self-growth and all that stuff compared to the newer stuff nowadays where everyone is perfect and everyone can do everything, which is arrogance, FYI. Big difference. But let's well, if you had to summarize our little chat today, Alex, how would you do so?
Oh, that's very interesting. I think self-belief, it's important to have confidence in your own abilities, judgment, and work. It's all about internally assuring yourself you can do anything, anything. And I'm saying this because I it's going to sound so arrogant. I'm a testament of that because it's a conversation for another time. But I really feel you do not need qualification. Okay, I'm not going to go into this, but you do not need qualifications or criteria to excel in life. If you have a growth mindset and that internal assurance, you can go on to achieve anything. And I genuinely think that, like, a lot of people will argue with me or comment, like, please put your comments in this, but I generally think, like, regardless of, this is going to sound so wrong. Okay, I know I'm supposed to be summarizing this, but I'm on a little rant here. Okay, so regardless of your status, regardless of your background, regardless of your culture, regardless of where you're positioned in the world, if you have that assurance, you can go on to achieve anything. And I think it's just how strongly you apply that and go on to achieve. But I generally think that you can go on to achieve anything you want to do if you have that assurance in yourself. And it's how you hone that in self-belief.
Absolutely, though.
So many people will argue with this, but I read a lot about so many famous figures from so many bad backgrounds that define the norms because of their own internal compass of self-belief. And I genuinely feel it. Like, I genuinely feel it. Sometimes I have it, but I don't. Sometimes I want to have it stronger, and I'm not applying enough of the strategies. Like, for example, a lot of positive self-talk, how you change your perspective on failure, opening yourself to more mistakes, exposing yourself to more mistakes, and being grateful about what you have, and challenging like negative beliefs. Like, I think if you do all of those things, like, and regularly apply it, you can be a very unstoppable force in your own life for development and opportunities. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm of the same mindset. So self-belief is so important. But don't confuse it with arrogance. Have the confidence in your own self, in your own experiences, in your own knowledge, in your own abilities. And like I'm on Alex's side, like, you can achieve anything. I mean, I spent a majority of my professional life doing content writing, content, like copywriting, all that stuff. And I've got no education in marketing any way, shape, or form, but now I am a marketer. And I'm learning so much, and I'm failing so much. I'm making so many mistakes, but it's so important to have that self-belief, to learn from your mistakes, don't make them again, and to have that support system. I'm so grateful that I have such an amazing boss. He'll like have a little go at me, but then don't do this again. Like, I've got your back, and it's so important to have that. As we've said, like, low self-belief is really, really hard on your mental well-being. And again, any parents who happen to be listening to this, like, please don't, just make sure that your kids believe in themselves, believe in their abilities. Don't coddle them. That's completely different. Like, don't make them believe that they can achieve what they want to achieve with the abilities that they have, but don't, like, be on their time, be on their side, be on their team. It's so important. Don't be like, why have you done that? That's so stupid. Or, like, in any way, shape, or form, don't be the one to beat down on their self-belief, because it will really mess them up in the future. And yeah, so it is possible to have positive self-belief, even if, like me and you, Alex, had that beaten out of us at a very young age. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Believe in yourself. You're an amazing person as you are. Just ignore what others think and get on with it. Just expose yourself to mistakes. I think welcome mistake. The biggest thing, if I define it in one line, is welcome mistakes in your life and approach mistakes full on, because mistakes make your life so much more better than successes. Don't sit on your successes and don't sit on success. Acknowledge it, but don't sit on it, and welcome mistakes more than success. That's what I'll say.
Absolutely. And what a wonderful, motivating way to end this episode. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're 7 episodes into this podcast, and we've never said that.
7th in the top 10 marketing, top 100 marketing podcasts. Yes, that's what Jasmine.
It's a lovely day. And we'll see you sooner rather than later.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Bye, guys.